Ticker symbol SONN making some incredible highs over the last few days. Let's go ahead and validate what could be happening for the following sessions because I believe I see a pullback followed by a continuation to that upside. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with an SONN technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this happy Monday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the chart. So yeah, you guys, happy Memorial Day today. We are going to go ahead and take a look at this ticker because there is absolutely something in line for it. So let's start off with, we have to just look at everything, okay? Because this is incredible opportunities being presented here. First of all, let's look at the monthly time frame and a macro perspective to see what could be in line for this, okay? First of all, please notice here that the moving average in volume is suggesting a continuation of increasing volume, which is already very good. Another thing we should mention is that we definitely have a decline in volume trend, right? As while price action is continuing to the downside, declining volume usually suggests that the current trend would be coming to an end, right? So, but now the next thing that we should look at is the differences between the green bars, right? So this green bar here is just ever so slightly lower than the one right over here, right? So we're currently at a little bit of a stance right here, which means that this last candle here could have been where people thought that we were going to gain that entry. First of all, please notice here that yes, we are within a ladder, what people tend to consider a ladder attack, right? So, except on the monthly time frame in this case, okay? So usually after we count 3 iterations of this ladder attack, the 4th usually becomes that potential winner, but also 5 and 6 and 7 could be it too, right? It really depends on where the sentiment believes that this is ready for the next target. Okay, so what we want to look at here is the volume difference. Please notice here that on the first iteration ladder, this green candle here has a volume. You can see the volume right on this green, right next to the VOL to the right of it, right? So please look right over there. You can see 2 million in that volume, right? Let's look at the second iteration here. Look at it rise. So that's 6.9 million in volume, right? Let's look at the third one. You can see right there, that's 26 million. So now people after the third test think that they can bring up the price action from the number 4. Notice the number 4 at a massive 103 million, but it did not make it. Okay, I want to point out here that we still have 2 days and 11 hours to close this monthly candle, and notice the volume where it's at thus far, 105 million. Okay, you guys, so this is increasing volatility, increasing liquidity, and this is definitely closing in 2 days and 11 hours, suggesting that if we close anywhere upside of the previous candle, which was, let's see, at top side of, let's see, the opening was 36.49, right? So 36.49, us closing this candle upside of that would usually mean a pretty bullish statement for the asset and a continuation formation. Not to mention that this is very close to being a bullish engulfing, but it's not quite it. But yes, this is very bullish nonetheless, you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and now move on to the next target here. Okay, I'm sorry, to the next chart. This is the statistical backtest that I actually performed on the 2-day time frame. Okay, so bi-daily critical expansion of volatility to contraction paired with momentum with an upside pivot throughout the entire trading history of the SONN asset on the bi-daily chart. So out of all of these iterations, guys, I'm sorry, we have a total of 23 iterations, and out of those 23, 17 have been guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an average upside accuracy here of 73.91% with an average upside thrust of a massive 92.02% with a standard deviation of 59.34% that can be realized over the span of about 34.7 days. Okay, so I did calculate here the upper bound and the lower bound of the first standard deviation. Okay, so the lower bound of the first standard deviation came in to 32.08%. And now when we calculate the entirety of the move, which would be the upper bound, I'm sorry, I meant to put upper here instead of there. I was just a little dyslexic there, right? A little, I should have been concentrating more. So 151.36% applied to the current price action. puts us at a very interesting target. Okay, so let's go ahead and just zoom in here and go ahead and take a look at that 151.36. Okay, so that would put us at a target of 59.48. Okay, so right about there. Okay, which is actually a pretty nice target. Okay, so now and actually, did I even open? Oh my goodness. This bottom side target, it started at 23.50, and this one is starting at 20. Okay, not a problem. They're close enough. Okay, so remember the mean is suggesting a 92% move to the upside. Thus far, these are two iterations of resistances, and we have already made 107.62% of that mean. So that mean already got realized. Okay, so but now if we're suggesting a continuation to the upside, then we have the upper bound of the first standard deviation suggesting that target of about 59 cents, right? So let's go ahead and move on the analysis here, because I would like for you to remember around this range here, right? So around the 60-cent range. Okay, so let's take a look at this first. I can actually just talk to you about this. So in order for us to understand where we're going, we always need to understand where we came from. Okay, so yes, we have a falling wedge here. It did break out a little late here, right around the 90% to the apex of the triangle, but the target was absolutely met. So this triangle can be looked at like this, right? So you take the trend line from the top side of the triangle all the way to the bottom side, apply it to the breakout zone, and you can see here that the target came in very much near that mean band of the Gaussian channel, and also you can see the resistances touch right there and rejection, right, you guys? So we definitely met that target, and it's looking very good. Now, the support touch, if we were to, because this is a bearish formation here, right? This is a tweezer top. We can look at a downside here for reaccumulation before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so that's already suggesting that, and it's all good. Okay, so let's move on to the next chart and see what we have here. Actually, we'll go ahead and touch this right after the next charts. Okay, so yeah, this would be the zone where I want you to kind of focus in on, right? So that 60, so this right here at 62.82, which is rhyming very much with that 60-cent target that the upper bound of the first standard deviation is suggesting, is coming in right near the 1.618. Right, so or also in between, right, the 1.272 and the 1.618. So the 618 target is a golden mean. That is usually where the trade or the sentiment likes to take the trade to. Okay, another thing that we should notice here is that at the bottom side of the Gaussian channel, first of all, we haven't reclaimed the inside of this Gaussian channel for some time. It's been since, September 2022 was the last time that we were inside of it. Right, so now the price action is suggesting for us to come back and test the bottom side of the Gaussian channel, which is at about just upside of the 1.618 at around 73 cents, right? So, or 72.69. So naturally, if we're looking at the 1.618 and our true target was around the 60 cents, which is this resistance level here, then yeah, we can go ahead and draw a box right here of resistance of 62.82 to 72.69. If we want to get a little more particular, then yeah, we can just go ahead and put that flat 60-cent level where the statistical is taking us, right? So right at the opening of this candle here, and very near the closing of this candle here, the wick top of this candle here, and of course very close to the 1.272. So this is already looking very, very interesting. Now, where it gets even better, let's go ahead and take a look at the 5-day time frame. Okay, so the 5-day time frame is suggesting a massive upside target. Okay, and it's not by the Gaussian channel, it's actually by my algorithm, the ARC reversion variant. Please notice the perfection right in here. So the mean is right when you're looking at volatility, right? Let me give you the context, right? When you're looking at volatility with a huge upside thrust like this on stochastic momentum, or volatility paired with this huge upside pivot, this usually means that volatility is suggesting a mean reversion play. So the mean located is the mean right now is actually located at 62.82. Right, or it says 63 here, but to be very exact here is around 62.80. Right, so which also has confluence with all of these candles here. It also has confluence with the 1.272. It also has confluence with the I believe it was with the buy daily Gaussian channel right down here. So it's just about 10 cents away from the resistance level of the Gaussian channel. Okay, so this is absolute perfection that it would be meeting us within this zone here. Okay, so now if we are to consider a continuation to the upside beyond this point, then there could be the top side of this of the Bollinger Bands here. If they continue just ever so slightly, they'll come back down to the space between the 3.618 and the 3.272 at 114. Go ahead and notice the first chart that we looked at and take a look at test number 4's resistance. Let's look all the way to the right and take a look at right there, 114. Okay, which would be that resistance level. So everything is rhyming very, very nicely here. Okay, so what we want to do is get long this asset, right? So even if we're paper trading it, because that's what we suggest here, right, you guys? So let's go ahead and see what those potentials are for a potential downside. First of all, we definitely have we have that buy daily scissor, the scissor top right over here, right? So tweezer top, sorry. So that is a bearish formation suggesting a downside. Good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and also take a look at the RSI, because I have something here for you too. Okay, please note, I'm just going to get rid of this circle here and this circle. Okay, so what you're looking at here are several iterations of hidden bearish divergence, and that's the variety of hidden, not regular, right? So this would be particular to momentum, in this case RSI, making a series of higher highs, while price action is making a series of lower highs, right? So this is absolute divergence happening, and I am introducing to you my first, one of my first strategy algos, right? So this algorithm here is an auto hidden and regular bearish divergence and bullish divergence locator, which can backtest the asset as well. So now if we look at the strategy tester here and we apply this metric, you can actually see that we have a 72% hit rate within the ARC Div 1 strategy, right? So it's showing us that 72% of the time, the shorter term time frame divergences are being realized. So this is, I mean, we have a high hit rate here, right? So 72% of the time, very likely for the price action to find resistance right where we are and continue to the downside here. Okay, you guys. So now let's look at the rest of the analysis, because this is going to be where we can see the entire bias, right? So let's go ahead and click on this right over here and click on that and bring up the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame so that we can see the RSI in a very detailed manner here, right? So there we go. Okay, so let's just see what we have. So the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame suggesting a resistance right away at that SMA 14 represented by the pink line. Okay, so let's see. We still have some upside to go here on the bi-hourly time frame. You can see here as well on the 4-hour that we're finding some support from that SMA 14. And yeah, so what I'm looking at here, guys, would be essentially a very short-term opportunity to kind of get long this asset, right? So in fact, yeah, it would be within the 30-minute time frame. So it could also be during the pre-market if it does have it, right? So in this case, we would go back to this chart here. This one was the one that we were kind of going to look at right before the RSI, but those are the targets that we're looking for. Look at the 8-hour time frame suggesting a downside here to that gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile, right? So this gravitational zone here could serve as a support alongside that SMA 14 for a bounce to the upside. And what's telling us that we can continue to the upside is in fact the 12-hour time frame, the 3-day time frame, especially with a parabolic upside pivot here, and also the 5-day still with an upside pivot, both of them upside of the 14-day simple moving average. So what we can look at now are the potential shorter term, since we have the 8-hour time frame suggesting that pullback here, or yeah, the 8-hour time frame. Let's see the 6-hour, see if it actually shows that. No, okay. So the 8-hour time frame would give us that bias for a downside, right? So we would have to then favor maybe a potential swing play for this, right? So what we want to do is actually make it to the upside here, since the 5-minute and the 15-minute are suggesting that upside continuation. Very likely for us to pull back from 45.94, and if we decide to reach a little bit higher, then yeah, we can go ahead and just top out once again at this area here. That would be the 4th test of the resistance, very likely for it to fail, right? So Now, let's look at an upper time frame to see if we have any moving averages in the way. All right, we did look at this earlier, so no problem though. Okay, so yeah, check it out. We definitely have the SMA 100 located at 45.92, which is pretty much 45.94, the 3-spot 272. So we'll face that resistance from the SMA 100 on the 12-hour time frame. We'll then revert back to potentially find a bounce from, I think the first area we can find it would be right around here, 40.49 to about 39.91. If the price action so just happens to run to the downside even still, then we have the space of this area here, right? So near the knot 618. And the the candle low right here would be in line with the knot 618. So 35.96 to about 36.54 could be the very, very bottom side for this before a continuation to the upside. And please remember that yes, I do see some targets here as resistance between 51.76 and 54.06, but overall, statistically speaking, aside from this gap here, yeah, we can go ahead and make it to around that 60-cent zone, which is literally right at the top side of this 4-hour gap right there. So you can see 59.88 all the way to the right. Very likely for us to reach that target there. This is still suggesting higher and higher targets, okay, you guys, but we must respect the stats. We got to respect the technicals and all that good stuff, right, you guys? But yeah, so I think please remember, guys, that first and foremost, I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Okay, you guys, I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, I wish you well, a very good rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Tuesday. Adios.